Far beyond Earth, in the quiet reaches of deep space, the massive human space station called New Dawn floated near the edge of Kalari territory. It was a symbol of peace, science, and cooperation between humans and aliens. Scientists, officers, and diplomats worked together there, believing they were building a better future. But one day, without any warning, New Dawn exploded. A sudden red light lit up the black sky, and within seconds, 600 human lives vanished in the fire. There was no distress call, no escape pods, just silence and floating debris. Panic spread across human space, but worse than the loss itself was the message left behind. A strange transmission played from deep Kalari space. It wasn't from a pirate group. It wasn't an accident. The message was cold and sharp. Your traditions make you weak. Females first, then your leaders fall first. It was an open insult, an attack not just on people, but on the very beliefs of humanity. Admiral Lena Voss stood on the bridge of her warship, Titan's Wrath, her face tight with fury. She had lost friends on New Dawn, and now the Kalari dared to mock Earth's most sacred values. She stared at the screen as another message appeared. This one, unexpected. It was a young Kalari female named Talana Virex. She had once worked with humans as a science exchange officer. Now she looked confused and angry. "I don't understand," she said to the Admiral. "Why do you protect your females? Why do they go first? They are not stronger." Her voice was not mocking. It was genuinely puzzled. Lena Voss looked straight at her and answered with steel in her voice. "Because on Earth the strongest protect the future." With those few words, the fire of war was lit, and every human heart burned with the will to fight back. At the center of the brewing storm was Commander Jack Riker, a decorated soldier and war hero. He was tough, smart, and always got the job done. Earth Command gave him a high-risk mission: sneak into the Kalari dreadnought Varkon, find proof of who gave the order to attack New Dawn, and plant tracking beacons. It was dangerous, almost suicidal. But Jack didn't hesitate. He gathered a small team of elite soldiers. But what shocked everyone was that Talana Virex joined them. She claimed she had defected from the Kalari. She said she didn't agree with the war and wanted to stop it. Jack didn't trust her. "Why are you here?" he asked coldly. She looked at him and replied, "I saw a human mother throw herself in front of enemy fire to protect her child. No Kalari would ever do that. I don't understand your customs, but maybe I want to." Their stealth ship flew silently toward the enemy lines. Everything was going fine until a Kalari patrol picked them up. Alarms blared. Bright lasers shot through the darkness. Their pilot was hit, and Jack had to take over. Dodging blasts and space mines, he crash-landed their shuttle on a frozen moon near the enemy's main ship. The snowstorm outside was fierce, and the crash left them injured and stranded. Worse, Kalari scouts were already closing in on their location. They took shelter in an icy cave. The mission had just begun, but they were already in deep trouble. Talana looked at the wounded soldiers and whispered, "In my culture, the weak are left behind." Jack turned to her, his eyes cold but determined. "That's not how we do things." The team was hurt, trapped, and surrounded, but the mission wasn't over. Not yet. Not while Jack Riker was still breathing. The cave was cold and dark, with icy winds howling like spirits outside. Jack Riker crouched near a fire they barely managed to start with emergency supplies. His team was badly injured. One had a broken leg, another had burns from the crash. They were low on food, and their comms were dead. But Jack's eyes never lost focus. He studied the map from memory, knowing the Kalari dreadnought Varkon was just 10 miles east across a frozen wasteland. "We move at sunrise," he said. Talana looked at him with disbelief. "Your people are hurt. They will slow you down." Jack didn't flinch. Then I'll carry them. She blinked in silence. In Kalari culture, weakness was shame. A wounded soldier would be left behind without a second thought. Yet these humans, they protected each other, even at great cost. She didn't understand it, but something about it stirred her. The journey through the snow was brutal. Jack dragged the wounded on a makeshift sled. Each step was slow, their breath fogging in the freezing air. Kalari drones flew above them, scanning, searching, hunting. Twice they had to dive into deep snow to hide. Once, they fought off a drone patrol with only knives and grit. Every moment was pain and danger. Still, they pushed forward. When one soldier collapsed from the cold, Talana knelt beside him, confused. "Why do you not leave him?" she asked Jack. He didn't even look at her. "Because he's one of us." For the first time, Talana helped lift the man onto the sled. It was her first real step toward understanding the humans. Not with words, but with action. They reached Varkan just before nightfall. The massive ship floated above a canyon, its underbelly lit by hundreds of lights. It looked like a steel dragon, silent and deadly. Jack used his last remaining drone to scan the hull. "There," he said, pointing to a service hatch. They climbed the frozen cliffs and sneaked aboard. Inside, the Kailari ship was a maze of metal and alien tech, glowing with green lights and strange symbols. The team split up. Jack and Talana headed to the command core while the others planted beacons and gathered data. Every second was a risk. They passed Kalari guards, barely hiding in time. One soldier was caught and killed. Jack didn't stop. His heart was heavy, but his mission had to succeed. That was the human way. Feel the pain, carry it, and keep going. In the control room, Jack and Talana found something shocking. The order to destroy New Dawn hadn't come from Kalari High Command. It came from a rebel faction within their military, a group that believed strength meant domination, and peace made you weak. Talana stared at the message logs, her hands shaking. "I was wrong," she whispered. "They are using our culture as an excuse for madness," Jack nodded. "Then help us stop them." Suddenly alarms blared. Their presence had been discovered. The ship shook as soldiers raced through the halls. Jack sent out the data, but they were trapped. The others had fallen. Only he and Talana remained. They ran through the halls, dodging fire. Jack took a blast to the shoulder but kept moving. He gave Talana the last escape pod. "Go," he said, holding the doorway. She looked at him in disbelief. "But I'm not human." He smiled, blood on his lips. "You're starting to sound like one." She hesitated, then pulled him inside instead. "If I'm going, you're coming with me." The pod launched as the ship exploded behind them, fire chasing the stars. They had the proof. The rebellion would be exposed. But something deeper had changed. Talana now understood what it meant when humans said females first. It wasn't about weakness. It was about love, protection, and sacrifice. The escape pod drifted through space, its lights flickering, oxygen low, and the hull creaking under pressure. Inside, Jack Riker lay slumped against the wall, his shoulder bleeding, his breath shallow. Talana sat across from him, patching his wound with trembling hands. She had never done this before. Kalari warriors were trained to fight, not to heal, but she did it anyway. "Why do you risk so much for others?" she asked quietly, almost to herself. Jack gave a weak smile. "Because if we don't, then what are we even fighting for?" The pod jolted as it entered the atmosphere of a nearby Earth outpost. Emergency beacons had been activated, and human ships raced to their location. As the pod landed hard on a desert plain, soldiers rushed out to pull them both to safety. Jack passed out, but not before seeing the blue sky above and hearing the words, "We've got you." News of the mission's success spread like fire. The truth about the rogue Kailari faction was revealed. The rebel leaders were exposed and soon hunted down by their own kind. The main Kailari government, fearing a full war with humanity, quickly sent messages of peace. But Earth didn't forget the lives lost on New Dawn. They built a new station, Dawn Reborn, bigger and stronger, a symbol of human resilience. Commander Jack Riker was promoted to Admiral, though he still preferred to wear his old jacket with the torn sleeve. He didn't seek fame. He only wanted peace to mean something. As for Talana, she made a choice that shocked everyone. She stayed on Earth. She applied for citizenship and joined the United Planetary Corps as an officer. Some humans didn't trust her at first, but she earned their respect the same way. Humans always did, by standing her ground and risking her life for others. Months later, during a quiet night on Dawn Reborn, Jack and Talana stood together, watching the stars. The air was peaceful, the station humming softly. Talana broke the silence. "There's something I still don't understand," she said. "Why does your species say females go first? In our world, it sounds like you're putting the weaker ones ahead." Jack looked at her, then smiled. "It's not about being weak or strong. It's about what matters most. When danger comes, we protect the ones who carry the future. Not because they're weaker, but because they're precious." Talana thought about it, remembering the mother who shielded her child during the war, the medic who stayed behind to save the wounded, the young girl who had comforted her in a hospital after the escape. She nodded slowly. "On my world, that would be seen as foolish." Jack shrugged. "On Earth, we call it courage." Just then, the warning sirens blared. A rogue Kailari warship, loyal to the old rebellion, had broken through the outer defenses. They were attacking Dawn Reborn. Jack grabbed his comm. "Battle stations!" The station shook as enemy fire hit the shields. Fighters launched, cannons fired, and the sky lit up with fire and color. Jack led the defense with sharp commands and calm focus, while Talana joined a boarding team to stop intruders inside the station. It was a brutal fight. Close combat in narrow halls. Blood and smoke filled the air. At one point, Talana stood over a wounded human girl, shielding her from a blast. When asked why later, she simply said, "Because she mattered more." In the end, the warship was destroyed, and the station was saved, but not without loss. Many brave men and women died that day. During the memorial, Jack spoke to the crowd, his voice steady. "They tried to break us by attacking our values. But those same values saved us. Kindness, sacrifice, love. That's what makes us strong." As silence filled the hall, Talana stepped forward and placed her hand on the Earth flag. "I still don't fully understand humans," she said. "But I will keep trying, because something in your ways makes even death feel like hope." The crowd stood in silence, then erupted in applause. The war was ending, and a new peace was rising. One shaped not by fear but by something far stronger, humanity.